6 minutes to do this.
Okay, well, I might have you do that.
Do it again.
I need more practice. All right, am I doing any better?
Yeah, just come on, get that rhythm.
You're gonna make me laugh. All right, so we just got home and I brought the milk home. I filtered it out with cheesecloth and a fine mesh strainer, and I've got it. I bought a couple of nice half-gallon amber colored mason jars. I'm gonna put this in the fridge and get it chilled down. And then we're gonna, I don't know, we're gonna try to decide what we want to do with this stuff. We're gonna get it in here so it can get chilled properly. This milk came from a toggenburg dough, so it's not quite as rich as the Nigerian dwarf milk that we had previously. Say hi, Alex!
What's up, YouTube?
Been doing some research on starting onion seeds. I've always used, what are they called? Onion sets, right? The little bulbs. So I have actually some onion seeds here, a couple different ones, some from Baker Creek, some from M.I. Gardner, some from another company. And I was doing some research about getting them started, which I need to get them done now. And I actually found an article on savvygardening.com that talks about winter sowing. So you sow them into anywhere from, and obviously your zone is going to affect this, but anywhere from December into February. So I need to get it done. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our seed starter. I have an organic seed starter mix that I've soaked and put and got it, you know, almost brownie batter consistency. We want it to soak up the water, because if we add the water after we get it into our container, it's just going to kind of bubble up on the surface, and we still have to wait and let it soak in, and that's what we want to do. It's very dry and porous, kind of like peat moss, the seed starter mix is. So I'm going to fill this up, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple of rows 2 inches apart of each of the different kinds of seeds. We're going to put the lid on this container, because this is one of those little mini greenhouse Jiffy starter containers, right, that I saved from last year. And then we're going to put it outside in the shade. So I'm actually going to put it outside underneath a bench, and we're just going to leave it. And that's what they tell you to do, is just leave it alone. Doesn't matter if it snows, it rains, or anything, just leave it alone, and then take the lid off of it if it gets really warm out. So in addition to starting the seeds that we've got over on the shelf, I'm also going to go ahead and start my sweet potatoes. Now these are sweet potatoes that we harvested last year. They didn't do that great. This is what is left. So these are a lot of the smaller ones. And what we're going to do is put a couple of toothpicks in them, then put them in a glass jar with some water so they can start growing slips. Sweet potatoes grow off of the slips. So you can see actually this one's already starting to grow. So we'll definitely use this one, and these will grow up until they're about 5 to 8 inches long, and that's when we can plant them. And it's going to take a little while. They don't grow real fast. So I'm going to go ahead and get these over here into these jars, and then we'll put them over in probably the kitchen window, because that's one of the sunnier windows. And that will be just one more thing done, getting ready for our garden. Getting kind of crowded back here behind the sink, so I went ahead and did 4 sweet potato starts, and then we've got our blueberry cuttings and an aloe plant back here. All right, I put the onions, the winter sown onions, in the one container out on the porch out of direct sunlight, and then I also started over here some broccoli, cabbage, and these right here are cauliflower. And then I found out, oh, I've got a strawberry container. So I'm trying to decide what I can do to reuse this, because it's kind of like a greenhouse, right? So if I sit it in a container, I may be able to use that. I wanted to show you guys the cups that I bought. These are from the Dollar Tree. So $1 gets you 12 cups. They've got a couple different sizes. And what I did here is I planted them inside of those, and then I put them inside of some solo cups that I had used for some transplants last year. And that way I can actually water them from the bottom up, which will do, seeds tend to do better if you, once they get started, the root, once, you know, we get sprouts, they do better if the water wicks up from the bottom versus trying to water them, you know, from on top. So we're getting there. We're getting there. I'm going to go ahead and amend a couple of my containers outside. If you look, I've got some containers out here, and I'm going to get those amended and ready to go, because here soon I'll be able to put kale and my bunch and onions, as well as my herbs and my lettuces out in those containers. And then actually the big black tub, we a lot of times put carrots in that one. So I am just getting so excited about the fact that we're getting, spring is on its way. It is going to be here before I know it. And I am going to have things started, so I am ready to put out my plants, my early spring plants in the garden.